No, I'm busy tonight, actually.
Hey, gang.
Hello.
Welcome to episode 6, filmed on Saturday, airing Monday, of the Jerry Hotpants Club. With me, as always, is my esteemed colleague, Chris.
Hello.
And piloting the show from the rafters is...
Eusafio the Awesome. Howdy.
Yes.
Hi,
yes,
Yusuf.
we'll go with that again. So, lots happened since we were with you, gang, the last time. And one of them is about 5 different Elon Musk stories, right? That insufferable fucking shitheel. So, right at the top of the list...
You don't like Elon Musk?
I don't. I think he's...
Do you have any reason for that?
Yes, I do.
Do you care to share it?
He has money and I don't.
Feasible.
So he is the agreed upon richest man in the world, richest person in the world?
Yes. Probably
Publicly?
all on paper more than anything, but...
The publicly richest person in the world?
Yes.
He's also African American.
Oh, don't
He
you
is.
fucking... Yes,
He's African American.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes.
From
New to
South
me.
Africa.
Is there a point to that?
And I
No.
thought that the Amazon
The
guy,
richest
Bezos or whatever was.
No, Elon's got
Bezos
more
is a
money.
buttfucker, too. He's also a scumbag, scumdog of the universe. So, right at the top here, there's bots all over Twitter, and it's causing a kerfuffle, if you will, in the whole bid for Elon to buy Twitter, right? And let's bring up he's buying Twitter to try to reinstate free speech, right? On the social media platform, which, by the way, you know, you are willingly signing on to a social media website and adhering to their terms and conditions. Okay, so free speech really doesn't apply. It doesn't. Freedom of speech is not.
It used to apply there. That was their thing, was free speech.
Okay, and so they have updated their terms and conditions.
Yeah, but terms and conditions are bullshit. No one reads that. And then they just do it behind your back.
That doesn't matter. So
They're
you
not,
buy
but
a
it's
car-
not. It's not free speech. There's a bunch of bots pushing their leftist agenda from Silicon Valley.
Okay, that's horseshit too. By
No,
the way.
that's what the stories are about. That's what's going on. He wants to buy it, but it turns out it's a bunch of bots.
And so that prefaces him to say that's why he's going to now switch from voting Democrat to Republican, right?
I don't know if
Because
that's why he said that, but
Well, no, because he said they used to be the party of niceness. I saw that quote somewhere.
well, the
this week.
Democrats pretend to be the party of niceness, and they do that so that you'll vote for them. But then they don't ever do anything, and then they just screw over the people that they claim to help more and more and more and more. Because if they ever actually help them, then they wouldn't vote for them anymore. So they have to keep them suppressed. That's like their whole bit.
in the entire ideology of the Republican Party is what again?
They're dickless bastards that want to look good on camera. They're scared to talk up.
Oh no, they're not scared.
But
to
the
talk
left,
up.
but the left
They're not
is
scared
the
to
left
talk
is a
up. Have
death
you
cult
met
that wants to
Marjorie Taylor
destroy the
Greene
country.
or that Matt Getz guy or whatever the fuck it is, you know, whatever his Goetz, whatever the fuck that guy is. You know,
Why are you still drinking Red Bulls?
I've been drinking. I drank so much caffeine yesterday that I didn't know if I could sleep. I'm not
If
sure.
anybody sees this individual with a Red Bull in his hand, please slap it out of his hand.
Why doesn't anybody offer to do that for me?
We do.
If you want me to do that, I will.
No, don't.
But this guy right here, look at you.
No,
his
don't slap
eyes
the
are
red-
doing scary things lately.
His eyes have done scary things since the moment I met him.
Okay, I've been noticing
There's some
it for
weird
last
shit
week.
going on between those ears. There's some real weird shit.
His eyes dart back and forth too much, and it's just there's things happening.
Well, it's because
Checking my surroundings here. Y'all are trying to steal my Red Bulls.
Yeah. Okay, so
Where were
we veered off topic again because
Elon bots, Twitter, left and right.
Yes.
What do you
yeah,
wanna
we're getting
talk
too
about? What do
far
you
off
wanna
the
talk
whole
about?
point. Like when we get into there definitely are bots on Twitter.
Right, and so
Okay,
the
so
issue is
hold
how
on.
many.
Okay, now hold on here. So let's get people caught up on what you mean when you say Twitter's got a bunch of bots, TikTok, you know, Instagram. What do you mean by bots? What are they?
They're fake accounts that have never been used, or ones that are sock puppet accounts where one person runs multiple ones. There's other ways you can be bots, but there's a lot that like have no profile pictures, no posts, no likes. They like get made and they follow like
everybody,
some accounts, and then they don't get used for anything else. They don't actually get used.
So what is the purpose behind these bots?
Just to make it look like someone has followers, or to push an agenda,
to overplay a sense of self-worth on a topic or an individual, correct?
Yeah, and so what they'll do too is they'll get these like social justice warriors will find some company that they have an issue with, and they'll make a bunch of them, and they'll push one idea. It would be one person basically sending 20 messages to the company, and the company thinks that they're getting inundated with complaints about something, but it's really just one person.
Yeah.
And then they'll like do a whole like emergency meeting and like cancel something and stuff to shut down, when it's just and it's not actually how the public feels. It's one guy in a basement or something.
Yeah.
So
then, and that's part of why Elon is like, all right, we got to take a look at this before I actually sign on the
because there's
line.
advertisements. So you pay to run your advertisements on Twitter. So just like on the TV with the Nielsen ratings, like however many people are going to watch your ad is you pay for it, and they make money. But if you're pushing your ads to a bunch of bots that aren't
nobody's going to buy your product,
right? So you're getting robbed. You know what I mean? So it's fraudulent. And I think Elon said that in the SEC filing from Twitter that there's less than 5% of the people on Twitter are bots, is what Twitter claims. But Elon asked to see that information, and they were like, they didn't produce that. Like, how do you know? If you have evidence to show that less than 5% are bots, like, show me how you know that. And they haven't showed him. So he did his own thing, and he said that I think Joe Biden's account is half bots, and Elon himself's account is like 70% bots, and he's got like 93 million followers. And so I mean,
the statement that it's only 5% bots
could be complete crap.
Yeah, it could be a higher statistic. And I've wondered too, when certain individuals, I look at their following on social media platforms, and they're showing millions, like people who are just fucking stupid, and they have no business even, breathing the same air as myself, yet they are, they have this huge following, and so I start to think, okay, how much of this is inflated? How much of this is like their friends' moms, like opening a million accounts, and so that creates all these bots, and so I can respect Elon's decision to maybe take a look at it, ask to see, because say what you will about him, he's a fucking turd burglar, but he is a smart businessman.
Yeah, he's the greatest car salesman to ever be on Earth.
Damn, I never thought of it that way, but holy shit.
He is, and he has he's still got that. Whose body do you think is in that spacesuit floating around out there? We've talked about this before, but whose body do you think that is?
I don't know.
Who haven't we seen lately?
Epstein.
It's not Epstein, because they found his body.
Yeah, well, maybe. I don't know. Epstein didn't kill himself. Is he still alive?
Yeah, well, no, I know, no, he's not. So, Elon's got, because he's a divisive, character. He divides people. Just merely bringing him up, like you and I have two different viewpoints.
Well, why does
politically? Well, no, he just is. You can't say it doesn't matter why. He just is.
I would completely disagree with that statement. For I think the last decade or so, he's been beloved by the left for his climate. She's probably the leading person on Earth to fight climate change, besides the little Swedish girl. And
I can't stand her.
She doesn't actually do anything. She just her parents.
She don't
have been
do shit. Fuck that bitch.
Okay,
she's 18 now. You can cuss her out, I think.
Oh, she get into a train accident and fucking disintegrates.
Her and Elon both have Asperger's syndrome. Both of them. Just a little detail there.
Yeah, okay, I get it. So
the left has loved him forever and ever and ever and ever. Then he says that, well, he's fighting climate change. He's doing all this stuff. And then all of a sudden he wants to buy Twitter, and all the blue check marks freak out. And then the other day he said something about he was going to vote Republican, and then the next day a sexual abuse or sexual assault.
That came before.
Not sexual assault.
That came before.
I think it was the next day. I'm pretty sure it was the next day.
No, it came before.
Pretty sure you're wrong.
Before. Well, why don't you fact check me for once?
Okay, I don't need to. I'm pretty sure you're wrong.
Okay, well, somebody please fact check this idiot in the comments.
It wouldn't matter if the sexual.
Well, no, of course not. There's always okay.
If it came out the day before, it would be. I mean, whatever. It wouldn't matter. But
if it came out the day before, then that probably influenced his decision to want to vote the other way because.
I mean, I just think the stuff hadn't hit the wire yet. Then, but
maybe
it sounds to me like complete bullshit. You think that he says he was getting a massage on an airplane and he whipped his dick out or something?
Well, he used SpaceX to buy her horse. Apparently,
I don't know, but who doesn't pull their dick out when they're getting a massage? Am I right?
Depends.
I don't know. I know if I'm getting a massage, I'm pulling my dick out. I don't know about you guys.
Well, I'm sure that the guy at the fucking parlor must really think highly of you every time you go there. So, Elon is, for me, always has been like this guy who, shrewd, not shrewd, intelligent businessman. Just flat out intelligent businessman.
Engineer.
Where I started to...
He's much more of an engineer than a businessman.
Yes, but he is highly intelligent.
Yeah.
In anything that he seems to apply himself to, he can become an expert on if he puts enough time into it. If I read the dust jacket of a book, right, I think I know the whole fucking story. I clearly don't. And I'm not saying that's what Elon is doing with Twitter or any of this other stuff, but I feel as though he has to, and this is an opinion, this isn't factual, I feel like he just dedicate his focus to one thing and leave everything else the fuck alone. Because he says, I shouldn't have to pay taxes. Poor fucking me.
What?
Yeah.
He didn't say that.
Yes, he did.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did. He was pissing and moaning about all the taxes that he had to pay, and then up came the topic of...
Talking about when he migrated from California to Texas?
Yes.
Is that what he did?
Yes. And then it said, whatever that was. It was about his taxes.
When he had his exodus, yeah.
And then somebody said something like, well, why don't you take an eighth of your money and fucking cure world hunger? And he responds with, okay. And he went to, was the United Nations, I believe. And he says, you outline a plan for me to do it, and I'll do it. And then so they do, and it's fucking crickets. Nothing.
That is the dumbest thing you've ever said in your entire life, Peter. That is the single dumbest thing you have ever even considered. That
because
him giving money to the United Nations is going to cure world hunger.
Agree with it.
How much money is it going to cost to cure world hunger? How much money did they ask him for?
$6 billion.
$6 billion. How much did we just send to Ukraine?
I don't know.
40. Okay. So let's cure world hunger with our $40 billion we just sent to Ukraine.
Okay, that's not the point.
What are you talking about? Why would he need to send six? He's not. When they asked him something about curing world hunger, he brought up that the United Nations was doing unspeakable things to children with their donations in Africa, and it's like a big news story. And it's common knowledge what was going on. And these people are not, these are socialist monsters. The United Nations is one of the, is the plague on Earth. That is
the dumbest fucking thing.
No, the United Nations is trying to take over the Earth. It's one of the most undemocratic. There's 5 people who can veto anything that comes out of him, and 2 of them are communist. It's a scam. The United Nations is a scam. The United Nations is more than a scam. The United Nations, the International Criminal Court, The Hague, all these, the Brussels, Beijing, Moscow, all these places are criminal, are inflationary, and want to destroy America, particularly black men, is what they're trying to do.
Okay.
And you think they're going to cure world hunger?
Factual basis.
Yeah, that's right. It's factual basis.
What is your factual basis?
I just said it. I mean, we can go.
He said it, so therefore it must be true.
Factual basis for what? I just gave you a bunch of.
Okay, so again, where do you get your information from?
I'm telling you, the United Nations is a corrupt terrible organization.
You're telling me, but I mean, have you sat in on the council meetings and you've been in the chambers when things are discussed?
No, the idea of the United Nations itself is socialist and communist in general. I mean, they're trying to be authoritative and take over the earth, and they're trying to destroy America. The whole point was so that America wouldn't have to do a World War III. That was the whole point of we didn't join the League of Nations because we didn't want to give up our sovereignty. But for some reason, we joined the United Nations. The League of Nations came before the United Nations. Yes, we were no, we're not going to give up. They're trying to get America to give up their sovereignty. That's what they're trying to do with the Paris Climate Accord, with the TPP, with the United Nations, with the International Criminal Court. All these things, they're trying to get us to give up our sovereignty and destroy ourselves. They're trying to, and the Democrats are a death cult that prefer killing our children. That's what they want to do. They want us to give up our power plants. They want us to give up our jobs. They want us to give up. They want to have inflation. They want to do all this shit.
Okay, before this turns into an episode of Alex Jones, we're going to shift gears here a little bit because I cannot and will not.
Well, how are you going to cure? How are you going to cure world hunger with $6 billion?
You know what? I don't have to figure that out.
How many times do we spend $6 billion a day in America? What was our budget this year? How many trillions of dollars did we just print? We printed trillions of dollars. We couldn't take $6 billion to cure world. That's a bullshit argument. I just told you it's the dumbest shit you've ever said. We printed trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars over the last couple of years. If we could cure world hunger with $6 billion dollars,
we absolutely did. But in this culture, I'm sitting.
You said $6 billion. Let's give the UN $6 billion and see them cure world hunger.
Shut the fuck up and let
it's not going to happen.
Talk? The whole point is that we sit here as a culture that overspends the fuck out of everything. You were talking earlier about how we have a calorie surplus in this country, right?
We do.
That our homeless people are overweight.
That's correct.
Right? Okay. So in America, we've got it pretty fucking good. Okay? If you knock on anyone's door in this country and ask them, hey, let's say, and I know what your fucking counter argument is going to be, so just let me finish what I'm saying before you interject with your horse shit. Let's say I come to you with an envelope and say, this money that you're going to donate to me is going to go to help fight world hunger, and it's going to help end world hunger. And let's imagine that all the bureaucracy and red tape gets just wiped away. It'll magically appear, and it will solve world hunger. You knock on 10 doors, 9 are going to get slammed in your fucking face, right? Because there isn't a photo op, right? Like all these TikToks of people going up and handing homeless people money and shit like that. They're funded to do this. All right? So we live in a culture where people don't do anything unless they get noted for it. They get adorned for it. They don't get a pat on the back and a, hey, how are you? Good job. So we're printing trillions at a time when nobody's at work, right? Everybody got stimulus checks and a ridiculous amount of underemployment, right? And what got bought? Fucking TVs and sneakers and brand new fucking toys for everybody. Meanwhile, rent, phone bills, utilities all went unpaid because everybody wanted to live high on the hog. They couldn't go places. They didn't want to do things. So what do? They hang out in their house with their giant fucking TVs that they eventually had to fucking pawn or sell because they couldn't make their fucking rent payment. And now all these bills are due. They pissed away all that money. Okay, so we're talking about printing all these trillions of dollars and giving them away to, blah, 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 blah. That's irrelevant. That's truly irrelevant. It truly is. One man has all of this money and wants to dictate how people do things. He wants to run social media companies. He wants to be woke himself. He's trying to be woke. He's trying to fucking yell at woke people and be woke himself. And he wants everyone to wake up to his ideologies and his way of thinking. So they say, hey, here's this idea. You give us this, we're going to help. At the very least, combat world hunger. All right? I don't know anything about the United Nations being socialist or communist or any of that fucking shit. I believe all of that truly is people just looking at something else and going, oh, I'm going to be mad at it for absolutely no fucking reason.
The whole idea of a United Nations is socialist.
And
the European
why is
Union
socialism so fucking evil?
Because it's communism. It's going to get taken over. It's going to be, you're going to have too much power consolidated and
90% of
it's going to get corrupted.
No,
yeah, you're going to get communists and you're going to kill 50 million people. You're going to have to crush dissent and you can't vote your way out of communism, out of tyranny. You have to. The United Nations. I don't even know why we are still in the United Nations. It's a scam. It's clearly a scam. They've been working against us for a long time. They've been taken over by the European Union and the communists, and they just want us to kill ourselves slowly is what they'd like us to do. It's a terrible organization, and the West has started to move away from it. That's what you saw with Brexit, and that's what you see with Australia gave up their guns. That was a mistake. But you see some pushback over the last 4 years, finally, to say that we're not going to let these sneaky communist socialists slowly enslave us into international banking and inflation and tyranny, and then watch us fight while you flood our country with fentanyl and, take away all our jobs and then make us dependent on the government, and they want everyone to be dependent on them. It's just a big it's just a big global. They want to consolidate power into one place, and they're either looking at Brussels, Davos, Moscow, or Beijing. Beijing kind of goes along with Moscow, though. So, but these people are all. It's just the war that we've been losing since 1945. So it's just how it's accumulating, and they want us to just give up. And kill each other. But $6 billion, it's the stupidest argument ever that $6 billion would cure. First of all, $6 billion isn't going to cure any world hunger. Second of all,
it's not the
we
dollar
have
amount.
$6 billion right now that we could send to the UN like with the stroke of a pen.
We could, but then
it would get laundered and it would get.
Yes, it would, but it'd get laundered before it leaves here. It
would get
both
back to
the political
people that wrote the
ideologies in
bill.
this country of the left and the right are the problem. The fact that there has to be two differing opinions on the same topic is the problem. And one of the last things Washington said before he left office was that the death of this country would be the two-party system. There had been many parties throughout the early years of the American country.
Well, if they were both pro-American, it might not be a problem. But the left side isn't pro-American; it's pro-world government, and then it's a death cult that wants to destroy America. So the left side needs to be the left side needs to go away, and then the right side needs to be broken in half, and they can actually fight for. They can choose how best to help Americans.
No, there shouldn't be any fighting for anything.
Well, there should be.
It should be. It
should be
this
thoughtful
fucking
disagreement.
simple. It should be this fucking simple. That I can't remember what her name is. There's somebody in Michigan. They're running on this platform that the underlying notion of the Constitution is Christian, and that we need the entirety of the country to follow Christian ideals. That is bullshit. I am not anti-Christian.
What's wrong with Christian ideals? I didn't say you had to be Christian.
There's nothing wrong with Christian ideals. But Christian ideals, the misinterpretation of religious texts, right?
I don't think she's talking about religious texts.
The misinterpretation of religious texts to create basically divide, which is what fanatics do, okay? There is a clear definition of a separation between church and state.
I don't think there never was until
there
that
was,
term
because
was
the
never.
founding fathers weren't Christian.
The separation of church and state was never used till like the 60s or 70s.
Yeah, and
That's
there's
not,
a
like,
reason
written
for
anywhere.
that, because up until then,
Because that's when liberalism started to be infected by communism and started to destroy America from the inside, is what happened. After 1945 with the creation of the United Nations, and we started to lose the Cold War and
the
World
whole
War
separate.
III.
No, the reason that the definition between church and state had to happen was because counterculture and the revolution started simply because they killed Kennedy, and they saw that the government lied to them. So they were tired of the government lying to them. And then people started saying, the scared people in this country with their crew cuts and their fucking white picket fence started to say, well, look, you can't say or do these things because I am protected by, the God of my understanding, and I'm going to go ahead and lean on him more, and I'm going to vote people into office who think like that, and then eventually all ideas about other religions of any kind start falling to the side. you know, and then if you're anything but Christian, how dare you think you can run for office in this country?
I don't know who you're talking about or what she's saying, but Christian ideals don't mean like they're not talking about anything to do with the religion.
Oh, no.
They're just talking about like a
rant.
strong nuclear family and like strong fathers and like loving mothers and sacrificial love, where you would, sacrifice yourself to help your children.
Those aren't holy Christian ideals. Those are just human morals. We're talking about a human moral compass here, right?
Look at some of these other countries and tell me they do that.
Some do. Some do. We still sit around here talking about how we're the greatest country on earth, and we're not. We're not, and we have not been in a very, very long time. And it started when we felt the need to police everyone's thought. And this is both sides, okay? The right wants to tell women what to do with their bodies. The right wants to tell people basically what religion and what God they should worship and practice, where the left says you can't say this, you can't say that, and you have to respect me no matter fucking what.
The left says those things. The right doesn't say that shit.
No, the right says that shit.
No, they don't.
The right says that shit. Yes, the extreme right does. The extreme right with these fucking Bobirds and these Marjorie Taylor Greens and this twatkadoo that's running in for some office in Michigan. Okay, all of these things.
That's a good source. Let's go back to Kennedy, man. I want to talk about Kennedy real quick, man. Kennedy had my favorite speech that I've ever heard is called "The President and the Press" by President Kennedy. It's about 20 minutes long. It's a great speech. Some of my other, I like Malcolm X's "The Ballot or the Bullet" too. That's pretty good. But Kennedy's "The President and the Press" really kind of dictates what I'm talking about. After 1945, there's a war going on that we aren't fighting. We're fighting proxy wars in Korea and Vietnam, and we're slowly getting taken over by international organizations like the WHO, like the United Nations. We're giving up our sovereignty, and we're starting to have rather than our Constitution being the end all, we're starting to have these international politics dictate what we do here in America. And I'm just not willing to give these socialist criminals any authority over our children. I'm not willing to.
Socialist criminals.
Yeah, like the United Nations, like the WHO.
So you do not believe that any of these organizations do anything except feed the energies of this death cult, as you call it?
Yeah, well, the death cult's the Democratic Party. So as long as you are abiding by what the death cult wants you to do, you get praised. That's why the Democrats get praised for destroying the country, and the dickless Republicans get praised for letting them get away with it. So as soon as you stand up, you'll get like sexual harassment allegations pinned on you. You know what I'm saying? Like the day after once you try to say, I'm not going to go along with this shit.
Okay, we're going to take a pause for a second here. I don't know what any of this means, Yusuf.
That's for me. That's all for me. I apologize.
Oh, okay. Because well, then text yourself.
How do I do that?
I've known you for 4 or 5 years now. I don't have your phone number. I know that's by design, you piece of shit. So explain to me why I don't have your phone number.
Right? Honest to God,
don't give your phone number out right now.
I'm not saying on the podcast, but it brings up a point, right? We're talking about all this stuff, and for everybody at home, like I still somewhat tolerate this guy, and he somewhat tolerates me. I don't agree with anything that comes out of his mouth. He doesn't agree with anything that comes out of my mouth. But what we are in agreement on is a handful of things. I don't think we should ever talk about them here because that wouldn't be very entertaining, would it?
Talk about what?
What we agree on.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't think there is anything, though. But anyway, this is what...
Red Bull titties.
Red Bull titties and Newports. those are the three things that get me out of bed.
Smoking.
Well, did you ever smoke cigarettes?
I smoked Newports a lot. When I was like 21, I smoked for like a year. Newport 100s in a box, baby.
Yeah. Remember what you said that one time? Like, the first few years was just sex and Newports.
Yeah. Yep.
And then fucking good old Slick Dick was like, You got to get with him later and tell him to stop sharing your story. Anyway, so the reason I'm bringing up the phone number thing, okay, like we've been friends for 4 years, right? You know, we've gotten closer over the last 6-8 months because of this Jerry Hotpants horse shit, right?
Correct.
Now, we've had some good conversations, you know, aside from this stuff, and the creative process that we go through, you know, is a rush, right?
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, the payout when you see it at the end, like the Silly Hot Pants movie we made, how much fun did we have doing that, right?
Oh, my God, tremendous.
You get to dunk my head in the toilet and tell me you were going to cut my fucking dick off or something like that, right? Like, we do these things, and it's better than any high that I ever got, because I look at it the day after, right? And I go, wow, that is so cool. Then we post it, and then we get the likes, the comments, and we get people loving it, right? And then we get new followers, new friends on social media, right? And we get to know people for a long time and never exchange things like phone numbers, right?
It's true.
You got Facebook now. Or
Yeah.
Yes, I've got you on TikTok, on Instagram, on Facebook. I don't need your phone number, right? Because I can contact you that way. And more importantly, right, like, I don't need to know your landline, because do you even have a fucking landline?
I don't think really anybody does anymore.
I got one at my house. So
You do?
my dad's got, yeah.
It's voice over. It's VoIP though. It's not like an actual.
Yeah, it's through
landline
Spectrum.
anymore.
Oh.
Yeah, well, that's all you can get. I don't think you can actually get like
The
the
AT&T
Actual phones
yeah.
anymore?
The AT&T line, a storm blew it off. You know that wire that's just laying in my backyard? It's still laying there. Anyway, that was the old phone line. It hasn't been hooked up in years.
But there's no more landlines, though. You're
No,
right.
Those would work when the power was off.
Yeah.
Remember, now if the power
Yeah.
goes
Yeah.
off, your VoIP.
You have no
cut.
phone.
I never thought of that. That's a little scary.
Right. Well, your cell phone, as long as you have battery, should work.
So what creates this notion that, like, if something, God forbid, because I don't know you know them times when Facebook's down for the day,
I remember the one day that it happened, yeah.
and then people lose their goddamn minds, and then, like, you know, then you pop back on when it all starts working again, and everybody's post says checking, is it working, like,
Yeah.
they're at work, the fries are overcooked in the deep fryer, that poor baby didn't get delivered, and, you know, Yusef fucking Lord knows, right? And then, but
I never overcook
everything's-
fries.
you sure about that?
100%.
just cook them twice.
Yeah, that's what it is. So we're so dependent on social media, right? Like, we're trying to do something here that, God willing, will pay us an income at some point, right? As long as we don't listen to whatever shit comes out of his mouth or mine, even.
You should listen to me more.
No, if people listen to you more, there'd be infant mortality rate.
Everybody would be rich.
No. Are you rich?
Yeah, well, I can't because we got to fight the government the whole way. Taxes. The first thing that should happen is the IRS, the ATF should be disbanded. And then probably the Department of Education, Federal Department of Education should go away too.
Well, oddly enough, there needs to at least be overhaul there at the Department of Education, because I wait on kids every morning who cannot do simple arithmetic. If I tell you your total is $6.95 and you hand me 9 $1 bills, you obviously don't know. You don't know.
You want me to tell you something? I graduated.
No, I don't, but you're going to anyway.
I have to. I got to get off my chest. Otherwise, I'm going to be writing it on whiteboards for the next 3 weeks. All right. So, like, I graduated maybe, like, the last 10. Like, I was, like, the dumbest motherfucker in my class. You know what I'm saying? Graduating class. I just didn't show up. I skipped a lot. I only really participated to do sports. And I think that's what got me to eventually graduate. Thank God. But anyway, for me being, like, in that very last spot, and I compare the basically how like I'm comparing it, like, okay, the last spot's intelligence of the graduating class of 2005 compared to now, I'm like, it is sad. A lot of times,
fucking Einstein compared to that, correct?
without a doubt, and that scares the shit out of me.
Well, that Common Core shit they put in for math was like,
don't get me started on that.
everyone hates it.
Do you know that a lot of kids don't know how to count change? Do you know that it dawned on me?
Yes,
Like
yes,
when I'm
that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, like I had to hire when I hire people now, I gotta say, here, count this, and they just look at me, and I'm like, oh my god, I gotta ask this.
Yeah, you do. There's these three that come in every morning, and every single time they do not have enough money. They don't have enough money. So somewhere a parent gives them their money for the day, and they say, here's a $5 bill. And they go around and they ask how much each item is. So now you have $7 worth of shit, but you only have $5 fucking dollars. You can't do that math. And then so they stare at you at the counter. They fucking stare at you like... Okay, so
I get it.
You have to put something back. You have to put something... But why? Because I fucking told you to. And then, the best part. This is the best part. When they put that thing back, it is still not enough money. So it is $4. Let's say they have a $5 bill, and the total is $5.23. Any regular, I'd say, you're good. I'll cover that. If these little fucks don't find that 23 cents, I will slam their head into the counter and call their parents. And so my frustration is not with them. It is not. And it truly isn't. Like, we live in a broken education system in this country.
Yes.
Because, so they
talk about it.
They're going to school. One, history is not told properly in schools. Math is not taught properly in schools.
I agree.
Science is still, even though nerd culture is a thing, if you still want to try to get high academics in science, you're still viewed as a fucking outcast because heaven forbid you'd want to do something to better your world around you. No, it's still, we're going to go to school and we're going to promote jocks and cheerleaders and fucking make fun of everybody else. So, you know.
Can you make fun of people now?
It's really difficult, but I still do it.
I mean, I'm walking on pins and needles day in and day out. I got to just shut up when I'm out in public.
No, you don't.
School needs to teach kids
wait a minute.
trades.
No, you don't. I'm calling bullshit.
I mean, I don't, but
Yes,
I need to.
Yeah, some of the shit that you say makes me blush.
I mean, I know I have to, but
It does.
Am I the most PC person here?
I think you are, in all honesty.
I think you are.
Yeah.
You
and
are.
that's
And
wild.
you
It
are,
shouldn't
like-
be that way. It should be him, and then you should be a piece of shit. But it's not working out that way.
Everyone is amazed at how un-PC I am for somebody that's supposed to be liberal. And again, folks, I'm conservative.
It's a wild world we're living in, man.
I'm not conservative. I'm going to make that right now. So, where did the education system fail? When did it start?
It keeps delaying the time you can make money. Like, they keep trying to get you to go to school longer and then putting you in more debt. So, like, okay, delay making money when it used to be like, I think, like, when it was like everyone worked on farms and shit. Like, if you got through like 8th grade, like, you didn't go to high school. Like, you're old enough to go work on the farm and shit. But I think what they should do is, starting in 1st grade, they should start to teach the trades, because everything's really big into STEM right now. You know what I mean? Science, technology, education, math. And what's more sciencey than the trades? You got like electricity, plumbing. You got geometry with the carpentry. You know, you got to keep the wind and the water out of the house.
But are you afraid that saturates? So, like, electricians right now, right, make pretty goddamn good money.
Yeah, they're like the Air Force of the trades, because they're like clean and get paid like the most.
Right. So you saturate the market with that, then wages come down.
And you make more houses. You would just trade services. I think that
sounds pretty socialist to me.
What? No, you would be all like independent contractor. You all work for yourself. Like, there'd be like almost no oversight. You just go do whatever you want to do. You'd all 1099 if we even paid taxes. I got a problem with us paying taxes at all. We didn't used to have an income tax until this Federal Reserve. So I don't know. I think if you taught the kids the trade starting at a young age, like 1st grade, just here's a ruler and a hammer and a screwdriver, and then there's other trades too, like cosmetology, and now you could say coding's kind of turning into a trade, because
because technology is advanced to the way that there are people. There's a huge need for people coding.
Yeah.
Mechanical engineers.
Yeah.
You know, and honestly, when you look at it, right, you can strip away all of the need for certain services, certain trades, and look solely at where it starts in schools. Okay, so it all kind of starts with this whole idea of like the participation trophy, right?
Yeah.
You know, everybody, and this is not to say that like we should run down people who are not physically fit or have mental illness or any of that.
Pete would have been ran over.
I was run over. I fucking was run over, and that has, you know. It didn't really affect me. It didn't turn me into an addict, right? Like home life and genetics turned me into an addict. Period. It wasn't the education system. I went to parochial school. I was given all the time and attention that I needed by my teachers. Okay. More importantly, I was given every opportunity to make good on promises that I didn't. You know, I was given second, third, fourth, fifth chances. Okay. And by the time I came out of grade school and into high school, and by the time I left high school, it is really when this notion of good job, everybody. Like,
well,
if you don't pull your weight, you know, like.
My biggest problem with school is that it doesn't teach you, it doesn't let you fail. From day one, you're supposed to, you know, get 100%, get an A, get an A, get an A, get an A. And it doesn't let you learn how to fail and learn from your mistakes where, like, the trades do. So if I give you, you know, a couple pieces of wood and some nails and tell you to go build a house, you're going to be like, what the? You know what I'm saying? You're not going to be able to do it. But if I show you how to do part of it, and then you get your hands dirty and you learn and you fail and then you get it and you're like, oh, okay, I do it like this. It doesn't, and also once you learn something like that, you learn how to teach yourself. So once you teach yourself one trade, you're like, okay, I figured out how to do plumbing. Now I think I could probably teach myself HVAC. Now I could probably teach myself electrician, and stuff like that. And it lets you like get your hands dirty and screw up, and it rewards failure that you learn from. Where school doesn't really let you fail. You have to get a good grade from the very first day because that grade counts at the very end still, and you never really get a break.
Right, and so what athletics in school is a way to create bonds with your fellow classmates. It's a way to promote activity, good health. You know, if I go out onto the field of any sport and I lose religiously, but I'm still getting a trophy, I'm being taught that no matter what I do, I'm going to get a fucking reward. So that's basically like if we, you know, you come home and Helix has chewed every pair of your shoes, you still give him a treat, right? No matter how good or how bad he does, he's still getting the same outcome.
I yell at him and chase him, and then he goes.
Do you get down on all fours and chase him?
No, he knows when he did it. He won't chew my shoes anymore, but sometimes he'll move them, and I think he gets excited. He goes, "Oh, I better not chew it, or Dad will be mad." And then when I come home, I'm like, "What'd you do?" And he's like, "Oh, I didn't chew it though." And I'm like, "Okay."
My dad still gets mad at me when I chew in his shoes.
Yeah, well, you're a shoe eater.
Yeah. So, again, the point is that
if you learn the trades too, you'd always have something to fall back on. So even if life goes to hell at some point, you'd be like, "Oh, I can go be a plumber again."
Okay, so I know enough about enough things. Like, I know enough plumbing to do little jobs. Could I plumb an entire house without, you know?
That's what I'm talking about. Like, hey, they should like maybe plumb a whole house by the time, like in elementary school. You know what I mean?
I'm okay, but what I'm saying is I know if you need your sink fixed, if you need a water heater put in. You know what I mean? If you need outlets changed in your house.
Yeah, we can.
If you need a breaker put in, I can do all these things.
Some guys, man, if their toilet overflows, they don't know how to shut it off.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And that transcends into, like, I'm not dumb, but I'm not, you know.
You've got your hands there. You got some experience. You haven't just been sitting back
watching
I've
learned
the TV,
things over time. Like,
getting
I'm not
dictated to by the, you know.
I'm not the greatest guitar player in the world, but I'm a good bass player. Okay, I'm not the greatest. I'm not the best spoken individual. Right?
Wasn't the Family Robinson the one who got stranded and then they had to build some shit on an island?
Using a Robinson Crusoe.
Yeah. Imagine if they didn't know fuck about shit. They'd have been fucked. They built a whole fucking treehouse.
That's a fictional story.
That shit really happened. I want to hear it. I watched that shit as a kid. That shit really happened.
So did E.T.
Usually what really happens is people eat each other in those situations.
Yeah. Yeah, the Donner Party.
Yeah.
Wasn't that what that was?
Donner Party.
You know, you piqued my interest, so the family Robinson. Vamp for a minute there, Chris.
Oh. I'd like to... Pete's not going to want me to talk about this, but...
Talk about it.
No, it's weird to bring it up now.
Bring it up. No, you want to.
The Swiss Family Robinson is a novel by Jonathan David Weiss about a Swiss family of immigrants whose ship en route to Port Jackson, Australia, goes off course and is shipwrecked in the East Indies. The crew of the ship is lost, but the family and a number of domestic animals survive. So it's a story. It is fictional. It is fiction.
Quiet, it happened. Treehouse with elevators and a toilet. Nobody ate anybody.
Do you think if Twitter's got a bunch of bots, you think like Facebook's got a ton too? And like maybe even Netflix? Yeah. Or you know what? There's a rap song and J. Cole says on this rap song that something about, I can't remember the exact lyric, but rappers ain't really what they seem. I can see in between, something like that. Getting plays by machines. Have you ever seen those pictures where they got like a couple hundred cell phones lined up in these rows and they're just streaming? Like they'll go up there. You know how YouTube does royalties now by streams? You got to get like a certain number of streams equals like one platinum plaque or one record sale. They'll do that, and then their backers that are in foreign countries will just run those over and over and over again, those streams, and they're up in their views and up in their streams is what they've been doing. So again, a lot of these songs, a lot of these stories, they have data centers that's got hundreds of cell phones, and they're just watching the videos over and over again or getting likes or whatever they're doing. So this kind of stuff's been going on, you know, and God knows where they could be doing it in things that, you know, hit close to the heart of the country, whether it's something to do with money or something to do with elections or something to do with how people think or how children think. You know, there's no telling. We just, you know, China has what's called the Great Firewall where, you know, people like us can't get in there and send information to the Chinese people, but the Chinese government can come into America and send information right to your front door. You know, they use TikTok for that. TikTok is owned by the Chinese Communist Party.
China.
Okay. All right. Easy there, DJ. Elon Musk has a Chinese doppelganger.
Oh, yeah?
Yang Ma has been suspended from Chinese social media because of it, too. I might kind of play into what you're trying to say, and heaven forbid that I ever prove you right on something.
Elon said that might not even be a real person. It might just be AI. He's like, but I've seen him before. I've seen it looks just like Elon with like darker hair.
Okay. We're gonna have to put the nail in this coffin. So, Yusuf, I got one question for you on the way out here, and then I'm going to ask Chris the same question, okay? And then we'll do our wrap-up. If you had to pick a celebrity that I looked like, who would it be?
Fuck. If I had to pick a celebrity that you look like?
Yeah, or that looks like me, however you want to phrase it. Phrasing.
I think you look like an overweight Jeff Bridges. Is that?
Okay.
Jeff Lebowski, the Big Lebowski, the dude.
Yeah.
You think
but now older, older though. Not young, older.
Oh, gee, weird. Okay.
Yeah. Like from No Country. No, not that one. That was the other guy.
True Grit. Hell or High Water.
Yep. Hell or High Water. That one.
Water. Okay, Christopher.
Yes, Pete.
Who do you think I look like?
You look like Joey Diaz.
Oh, you fuck a momo.
Yeah. I thought he got his comedy from Joey Diaz, but he's just like this on his own, though.
You tell him a bunch of butt fuckers. I had enough of your shit.
Yeah, you're a Polish Joey Diaz. You might be. I can see, John Daly was in the news, but he's all white-haired now.
John Daly.
Yeah, the golfer.
Oh,
he smokes
tub nuts.
He smokes so many cigarettes, and he eats candy and shit.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a portly fella.
They he was in a PGA event yesterday, and someone followed around, and then they showed what he did during his 18 holes. It was like 21 cigarettes, like 12 Diet Cokes, and like 6 bags of peanut M&Ms, 0 waters.
And he's doing good though, right?
Oh,
He's a
God.
monster. Then he smokes. Yeah, he smoked. Then he went to the casino afterwards.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they got pictures of that. That's what I woke up to this morning, and I laughed my ass off.
yeah. John Daly's a legend.
What are your parting words for today, Yusef?
Everybody be kind to each other.
Really?
Nah, psych, I'm just playing. Hey, you guys, if you guys are going to go out swimming, please, please, please always remember to bring flotation devices because some of us don't know how to swim, and you got to make sure to not eat a whole hour, okay, before going to swim. Thought I was going to say some other shit, didn't you? Fuck you, Dolphins!
What do you got for us, Chris?
The United Nations is evil.
Okay, so I wandered into this strange parallel universe.
How about you?
My life would be. My parting words today are: don't sweat the petty things, don't pet the sweaty things. For Yusef back there on crowd control, and Chris to my left, your right.
Coming for you, Brussels.
Yeah, that's it. You guys have a good. What is this going to be? Monday?
Yep, it's going to be Monday.
Okay, you guys have a good Monday, and don't fuck each other.
Okay.
No, I'm busy tonight, actually.